Dear viewers of the Tom Photo channel, the Fuji X-A1 has been my trusted companion whenever I need ultralight gear. It's been with me on numerous hikes and travels, but I think it's now slowly dying of old age. It is displaying symptoms of a chronic condition. If it were a person, I'd say its eyes are not as good as they used to be. It started a couple of months ago when I was photographing swans using the A mode. All of a sudden, the camera started to significantly overexpose. Not just a little, but it washed out the image to the degree of roughly +2 or +3 EV units. And the overexposure did not fully come back down with any amount of negative compensation. It did not become normal even when I went to completely manual mode with a fixed ISO. It looked like it was frozen. But looking at the bright side, the photo was always brighter than reality. And then it went away for a couple of weeks. Now it is back and looks like for good. I've been able to take only a few normal photos where metering was right. The only way for me to take a normal looking photo now is when I block all options for the camera to go wild with the exposure. When I fix the ISO at the lowest value, turn the exposure compensation to the lowest value, and make the aperture very small, like 13 or 14, I can take a photo that looks normal. I suspect that something is wrong with the metering sensor or circuitry, or the exposure control circuitry. The camera is not worthwhile to repair, because this camera model costs about as much as dinner at a good restaurant, if it works. So I now have a camera that leaves me with these 6 options. Number 1, use the camera for room decoration. Nobody will know that it doesn't work. If you want to look like a mad photographer, you should always decorate your room with photography stuff. They will take you more seriously, you see. Number 2, throw the camera away. This is a lot of work because it does not go into regular trash, and we're supposed to sort our garbage in Europe. We all have 4 types of garbage collectors at home, and none of them is for cameras. Number 3, sell the camera for parts for a small bag of roasted peanuts. But it still takes effort to find someone willing to give up a perfectly good bag of roasted peanuts. Number 4, use the camera for art projects. Maybe it will work for line art photography, but there's only so much line art photography one can do in a day. Number 5, use the camera in low light with manual mode so that the low ISO, fast shutter speed, and the small aperture would calm down the enthusiasm of the camera. Or, should I say, make it physically impossible for the camera to overexpose. This is starting to look like a viable option. It could be my nighttime camera to be used from a tripod. Number 6, use the camera with sunglasses. This is to say, with an ND filter. But what do I tell passerby when they ask why my camera is wearing sunglasses? Because it has superpowers. Because it wants to look cool. Because it is blind. And this is true because you do feel blind if you want to guess the exposure by trial and error, because the back screen is of no use. It shows the perfect picture no matter what your camera settings. I guess this is all doable if you have all the time and you're not into birding. You see, my camera is not what it used to be when it was still young. It now needs help from me to photograph, like an old person needs help crossing the street. The camera used to help me. Now it is my turn to help the camera. It's the right thing to do. You see, we are friends and we go back a long time together. Thanks very much for listening to my story of my limping and sick X-A1. It was so fine when it was still young. Isn't it typically the case? Please subscribe to my channel and leave a like if you feel sorry for my camera and want to prove to me that you care. Use your camera while you still can, and it's not yet too late. Goodbye.